experience with the arts in Norfolk from the time that I came down here as a guest artist in 1994 through this time have been surprising for a city this size. I think that the amount of organizations that have had long histories that are the standards for any cultural city, the symphony, the opera, the stage company, the dance company, and the museum, is shocking to anyone from a larger city because there is so much here. I also think that in some ways the arts has a bit of cachet to it in that Norfolk is not expected to be the center of culture. But because it has, it's become a destination for many tourists. My artist friends who come from other cities are astounded when they find out what's available to us here. And mostly for us in dance land and having the ability to do many other things is the beauty of the collaboration, and that is that we get to work with every arts organization to create something that's better than it would be if we were working individually. The powers, the resources that come together make a huge difference, particularly in our economy.
Yeah, I would have to agree. When I first moved here, I wasn't quite sure what to expect. I moved in because we have this opportunity here at the TRDANCE Center for me, to both do dance and theater, be involved in both. And the support of the community was what really interested me, not only facilitating the place where we could do it, but also all those people that were interested in collaborating, helping, in finding new ideas. Maybe because then our head becomes slightly smaller, therefore we have more opportunity to dream new ideas that could be brought forward and then taken to what we would call a main city. That way we have our home to create all this work and take it away. I mean, I always use the words of Todd. Art is done where artists live. So in that sense, it's been very fruitful.
Vision for the arts in Hampton Roads, pertaining to dance in particular, is the sheer fact that we need to grow and educate an audience for dance. I think that dance was possibly the element of our cultural center that was a little bit behind. We had a very rich tradition of ballet in the community with Gene Hammett back in the day. And as time went by, somehow that never developed into a fully professional company. So having a professional company of 9 dancers and professional dancers that live here, that work here, that affect the community and the economy here, is a vision that we had all along. But I think to really make it a place where a dancer could make a fine living, that they can find work and challenging work and interesting work. And to do that, we need to grow our audience and make sure that people have fans. You know, dance should be like a sport. I'm going to see Krista dance, or I'm going to see, Janelle dance, and that is the thing that I really see, that the personal connection to the artist, like we do when we were young in New York dancing. You went to go see Alessandra Ferri perform, or any of the famous principles that you emulated, that you wanted to connect with through the kinesthetics of watching them perform, and also like osmosis of their spirit, to pull it into you. And I think the more that we can reach out, the more you can see how dance affects the community, not only as a place where it's safe to be, but a place where you learn discipline and self-respect, and you can grow through the harder times in your childhood and puberty, knowing that you have a knowledge of yourself and that you're growing not only externally, but also intellectually. And that would be the greatest joy, is to keep those artists who grow up here wanting to live here and dancing.
Yeah, in that sense, I guess I would go even further. Maybe because I'm originally from Puerto Rico, and in the island, growing up, there was always that sense that the main artists, the artists that have made it, whose craft have gone to a specific point, were living amongst us in the same small island. But when I moved to the States, in general, and then I moved to New York, and I have the same type of relationship with those people I call my heroes. And I would love to see in the future that we have created, we have supported Harvard's artists that are making it, that are being successful not only in the regional environment, but in the whole United States and abroad. In order to do that, we have to learn and teach our supporters that these artists that are living here, that are working with us, are worth, and their crafts are growing, have grown. There's that idea of they have to go someplace else to prove their worth and then come back home. Sometimes I wonder about that. That is the way to go. Do we have to continuously bring people who have made their name someplace else because we deem them more successful because they have been in front of other audiences? Well, the truth to me is that we are giving the time and the space to sharpen that craft. And that's what makes the artist. It's not a different zip code. It's just the amount of experience that they have been allowed to have. And that's, from my point of view, that's one of those things that we push more and more and more. Whether it is to the TR Dance or our collaboration with the Children's Choir or our collaborations with the Government School for the Arts, I think we are not only trying to make ourselves examples of people that, whose craft, who have developed their craft, have given their life to this thing we call the arts, but that we are also seeing people grow in the community as artists. And therefore, we don't only have an expectation of an outside art coming into us, we have an art that is grown here and then shown to the world.
Homegrown. TR Dance was born out of a series of dance devotees in the Hampton Roads who had seen my work on the Governor's School, on Virginia Ballet Theater as it was then, on Second Wind Dance Company. I had set a piece for the Arts Festival called I Never Saw Another Butterfly. I had worked with Petula Clark for her PBS special here at Norfolk and Chrysler Hall. And so there were a lot of observers who thought, dance is something we love. It's not strong enough in our community in terms of its professional entity. And you might be the guy to do it. We talk about importing talent. I am an import in one way, but I also spent 7 years guesting here and getting to know the community before actually moving here. And so there was a great amount of research and development, R&D, that happened before I made the choice, and also realized that there was a great openness and awareness about it. When those people got together, they said, Todd, we think you have the makings for it. There are professional dancers who need work in the community. It also could be a destination for young dancers to come to get better training. We could be the city that you go away to find and develop your craft. And so it started that way. The problem has never been the creative side. It's not been the ability to collaborate or any of those things. Our greatest challenge is really raising the money and keeping dancers living with a wage that is they deserve, one, and that they can live without having to focus too much of their time and energy in other things. The birth of the building came from a wonderful patron who is a doctor now, but was originally a ballerina with the National Ballet of Canada. And her husband, the cardiologist, and she herself have always loved the arts, supported the arts. And through our relationship through Pilates, she came to me and said, hey, my husband and I have a dream and we think it might be for you. And from that point on, we started looking for buildings. It was about 1.5 years, 2 years before we purchased the building on Granby Street. But since then, it's been one fast trip. We're hitting 5 years in August, so it's hard to imagine. I feel like we were just putting the furniture together for our office.